This video is about key, dichotomous key for insect classification. So dichotomous keys are valuable tools in various fields of biology, taxonomy and ecology. Their importance lies in several key aspects. For example, species identification. Dichotomous keys are primarily used for identifying species of organisms. They provide a systematic and organized way to determine the classification of an unknown specimen based on a set of observable characteristics. Biodiversity studies and ecological and environmental research. Dichotomous key play an important role. In ecological and environmental research, dichotomous keys are essential for studying and documenting biodiversity. They help researchers identify and classify the different species present in a particular ecosystem, which is crucial for understanding and conserving biodiversity. Biodiversity studies, the ecological and environmental research. Dichotomous keys are essential for studying and documenting biodiversity. They help researchers identify and classify the different species based present in a particular ecosystem. This is crucial for understanding and conserving biodiversity. And taxonomy and classification. Dichotomous keys play a fundamental role in the field of taxonomy, where scientists categorize and classify organisms into hierarchical groups. These keys assist taxonomists in determining the correct classification of a specimen, including its genus, species, and sometimes subspecies. Education. Dichotomous keys are valuable teaching tools in biology and related fields. They help students develop critical thinking skills by acquiring them to make a series of decisions based on observable traits to arrive at a correct identification. Also helpful in field research. Researchers and naturalists often have dichotomous keys in the field to quickly identify and record species they encounter. This is especially important in remote or diverse ecosystems where numerous species may be present. Conservation. In conservation biology, knowing the identity of species and understanding their distributions is crucial for creating effective conservation plans. Dichotomous keys aid in species identification and tracking population trends. Then agriculture and pest control. Dichotomous keys are used in agriculture to identify pests and diseases that affect crops. This information is essential for implementing pest control strategies and managing agricultural systems. So medical and veterinary science, dichotomous key are also important in medical and veterinary sciences affecting crops. This information is essential for implementing pest control strategies and managing agricultural systems. Medical and veterinary sciences, dichotomous key are also employed in medical and veterinary sciences to identify disease vectors, parasites and pathogens that can affect humans and animal health. Then natural resource management. For sustainable management of natural resources such as forests, wetlands and fisheries, it is important to identify the species present. Dichotomous key assist in making informed decisions about resource conservation and utilization. In scientific communication, dichotomous keys provide a standardized way of communicating species identifications within the specific scientific community. This helps ensure that researchers from different regions and backgrounds can understand and replicate each other's work. In summary, dichotomous keys are essential tools for species identification, biodiversity research, taxonomy, education, and various fields of applied biology. This contribute to our understanding of the natural world and are valuable in addressing ecological, environmental, and conservation challenges. What is a dichotomous key? A dichotomous key is a systematic tool used in biology and other scientific fields to help identify and classify organisms or objects based on a series of choices or characteristics. It consists of a set of paired statements, each offering two contrasting options. By making choices between these options, users can narrow down the possibilities and ultimately arrive at the correct identification of the organism or object they are trying to classify. Starting point. Users begin with a general description or characteristic of the group they are trying to identify. For example, if identifying a plant, the initial description might be the presence or absence of flowers. Then choices. The key provides a set of choices, each with contrasting options. Users select the option that best matches the characteristic they observe. For instance, one choice might ask if the plant has flowers, and the options could be yes or no. Next set of choices. Based on the choices made in the previous step, the user proceeds to the next step of choices. His choice further refines the identification by focusing on additional characteristics. This process continues until the user reaches a specific identification. Then final identification. After a series of choices, the user should arrive at a specific identification. This might include the scientific name of a species, the name of an object or category within a taxonomic classification. Then dichotomous keys are designed to be dichotomous, meaning that at each step there are only two possible choices. This binary decision-making process continues until the organism of object is correctly identified. Dichotomous keys are commonly used in fields such as biology, botany, entomology in particular, and taxonomy to classify and identify a wide range of organisms, including plants, animals, insects, fungi, and more. They provide a structured and systematic approach in the process of identification and classification. And use of dichotomous key. Dichotomous keys serve several important purposes in various scientific and practical applications. For example, in species identification, one of the primary uses of dichotomous key is to identify and classify species. They are essential tools for distinguishing between different organisms, whether in the field, laboratory, or natural environment. The taxonomy and classification. Dichotomous keys are taxonomists and biologists in categorizing and classifying organisms into hierarchical groups such as genera, species, and families. They contribute to our understanding of the biodiversity of Earth. Biodiversity studies. In ecological and environmental research, dichotomous keys are used to study and document biodiversity. Researchers can identify and record the various species present in a given ecosystem, which is crucial for conservation efforts and understanding ecosystem dynamics. Then field research. Dichotomous keys are practical tools for researchers and naturalists conducting field work. They allow for quick, accurate species identification, which is particularly important when studying diverse or remote environments. In education, dichotomous keys are valuable teaching tools in biology and related fields. They help students develop critical thinking skills by acquiring them to make decisions based on observable traits to arrive at a correct identification. Keys provide hands-on learning experience and reinforce concepts in taxonomy and classification. And conservation. In conservation biology, knowing the identity of species and understanding their distributions is crucial for creating effective conservation plans. Dichotomous key aid in species identification and tracking population trends, which informs conservation strategies. In agriculture and pest control. In agriculture, dichotomous keys are used to identify pests and diseases that affect crops. This information is essential for implementing pest control strategies and managing agricultural systems. So, medical and veterinary sciences. Dichotomous keys assist medical and veterinary professionals in identifying disease vectors, parasites, and pathogens that can affect human and animal health. Accurate identification is crucial for diagnosis and treatment. And natural resource management. For sustainable management of natural resources such as forests, wetlands, and fisheries, it is important to identify the species present. Dichotomous key assist in making informed decisions about resource conservation and utilization. Then scientific communication. Dichotomous key provide a standardized way of communicating species identification within the scientific community. This helps ensure that researchers from different regions and backgrounds can understand and replicate each other's work. In summary, dichotomous keys are versatile tools used for species identification, taxonomy, biodiversity research, education, and various fields of applied biology. What is the significance? The significance of dichotomous key lies in its multiple contributions to scientific research, education, and practical applications. For example, species identification. The significance of dichotomous key lies in its multiple contributions or applications to scientific research, education, and practical applications. Here are key concepts and its significance. Species identification. Dichotomous keys are invaluable tools for classifying and identifying, distinguishing between species of organisms. They provide a systematic and structured approach to recognizing the unique characteristics that define each species. In taxonomy and classification, dichotomous keys play a crucial role in the field of taxonomy by helping taxonomists classify organisms into hierarchical categories such as genus, species, and family. They contribute to the organization and categorization of the immense diversity of life on Earth. So biodiversity research. In biodiversity studies, dichotomous keys are essential for documenting and cataloging the various species present in ecosystems. They assist researchers in understanding and observing biodiversity for classifying and recording species